Hello, everyone. Well, today we bring number one bestseller on Amazon, the book that Dr. Dolores has written on healing yourself the way you never thought you could. Well, that's what we are going to talk about today, how it applies to women going through perimenopause, menopause, and beyond. So let's find out. Thank you so much for joining me, Dr. Dolores.
Well, thank you, Amita. It's a pleasure to be here as well to be with your audience. Yeah, menopause is a very interesting topic. And, I think for many people, for many generations, it's been like a taboo. It was like the elephant in the room that nobody ever talked about, because it's like everybody just kind of did their own thing and you was pretty much suck it up, buttercup, and not really addressing some of the issues that are really, really important for this rite of passage. As we know that, all women will go through this in their own way, be it if they have an early, an early menopause due to, having a hysterectomy or anything like that. We all will go through that if we live to the ages that we are. So, but anyway, thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. So, we women are always helping family members or, our friends or family, whatever. We never really take into account the self-worth. And the point that you have brought into your practice is spiritual wellness, self-worth, all these points, right? They're not measurable, like sciences. Do you want to talk about how you brought everything into a very cutthroat medical profession and been able to make changes?
Well, it's a journey. Okay. Just like each one of us has our story, the medical profession is on its own journey as well. So I've been in healthcare for well over 45 years. So I've seen a lot of changes evolve. So now that we are at the time that we're in right now, things are being talked about that were never talked about before, and then introducing spirituality with this as well. And, let's talk about self-worth. I think many of us as women have a tendency to be the nurturers, the caretakers, and sometimes we don't put ourselves first. We aren't even on the list of our to-do things. And that is a huge disservice to us individually because when we don't nurture and take care of ourselves, we don't have anything to give to other people. And I think we all could agree on that. It's like you're running on empty, and it's no surprise that our society is the way it is. So a lot of people say, well, how do you get to increase your self-worth? What I tell people is this: the longest relationship you're going to have in your life is the one you have with yourself. However, a lot of us don't believe that. So I always ask people, well, how's that going? Are you being kind to yourself? Are you saying nice things to yourself in the silence of your mind? Are you feeding and nurturing it with good food and love and appreciation and acceptance? Just like you would, like your favorite person outside of yourself. You need to be treating yourself the same way and not holding the bar so high for yourself that you can't accomplish that. I find that when we are in the state that we're in because there's a huge disconnect between being in our mind and being in our body. The two need to marry each other because you need both. You need to be able to be in your body in the present moment so you're able to experience your emotions, feel what you're feeling, because a lot of times people don't want to feel, but this is your inner guidance that's talking to you. It's about embracing your inner knowingness and inner wisdom and inner guidance. And how you get to that is that you need to take time for self, do a mindful activity. Mindful activity could be anywhere from like a meditation to sitting in a garden and just observing and feeling the flowers and smelling the essences. Anything that's going to bring you into your body is a mindful activity. When you're in your body, that's when you're able to get insights. Call it your intuition, that little voice within yourself that's very subtle, that when you don't slow yourself down, you can't hear. But this is where your wisdom and your knowingness, and call it your intuition, they're all the same thing, is talking to you, your higher self. This is where you get your next steps of what to do. Instead of just flailing around doing things in your world, trying to keep busy, sometimes it's a distraction, but it allows you to be more purposeful in what you're wanting to accomplish, next step by next step by next step. And it actually brings you into peace and calmness within yourself as well.
I think that's beautifully explained. What I find is most of the women that I know, and including myself, we are always we always care so much what others think of us.
Oh
Right?
gosh, yeah. I think that's like normal of being human. And the thing
Yeah.
is, somebody told me this one time, and it's so true. People don't really care. We make that whole story up ourselves because, we've been programmed into that. A lot of times we are born into that. It's an ancestral thing where it's like, what are the neighbors going to think? Yeah, it's like, they really don't care. They're so busy worrying about their own stuff. They don't care. It's kind of funny, but it's the truth. So, you got to give that up because you know what? The only thing that matters is who you are, what, who you are, how you make a difference in the world. Okay. A lot of times people think, oh, I think Maya Angelou said this the most incredible way. She said, people don't remember what you did. They remember how you made them feel, and that's what we need to do as far as reflecting that back onto ourselves is how we make ourselves feel. Do we make ourselves feel loved, appreciated, and valued? Yeah, it's for many who are just exploring this whole self-worth thing, it could be an overwhelming, daunting task, yet it's an essential one. And I just encourage people to take baby steps. It's about learning how to trust your intuition because we've been told for way too long not to trust it and to, follow the herd and the masses and what's in the external. And then the other thing is about learning how to self-nurture and say kind words to ourselves because I think we're the worst at beating ourselves up and we're very hard on ourselves. And, to take that a step further, there's the work of Dr. Uh, Emoto Mazuro, Dr. Emoto, or Mazuro Emoto, I said his name in the wrong order. Dr. Emoto studied water back about 20 years ago. He would label water with different words like love, peace, hate, and fast freeze them, and then look at the crystal formations under a microscope. Of course, I'm giving the simplified version of what he actually did, but what you would find is that the crystals from the water that was labeled love, there were these beautiful, symmetrical, very unique, crystals, whereas the ones from I hate or war were fragmented, distorted, and even, not very pretty. They were ugly. So take that a step further. Our bodies are 80% water, okay? You're labeling, I'm not good enough. Guess what you're doing? You're changing the whole crystalline formation of the water that's in your body, and it's affecting your overall health and well-being because it's lowering the vibration, right? So I invite people, the simple thing is when you catch yourself saying something, just say, I'm going to change that. I love myself. The first step is just acknowledging that you're doing it so you could change it. When you're on unconscious mode and it's constantly going, sometimes it's a challenge. But once you're awake and aware of it, it's hard to go back to being asleep. And I think you and I could both agree on that. It's like you can't go back to the way things were. You're awake now. Now it's time to move forward and create something amazing.
Well, thank you. I think it's beautiful the way you described it. And I love the way you said that water, we are 80% water. We never think like that.
We
And
don't.
right? And if you're
Yeah.
always self-deprecating ourselves, we are not good enough, I guess that's that's how we're going to start thinking. That's what going to change, and that's how other people are going to perceive us. So if we perceive ourselves, like to your point, that's how the world is going to perceive, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know, if people are interested in looking, just Google Dr. Masaru Emoto, and you could see pictures of that. His work was phenomenal. This man was way ahead of his time. He's passed over. I think he's been gone probably about 10 years, but his work is phenomenal. And it's like, it's really, he pioneered something that was pretty incredible. And all you need to do is just change the thought and it changes the crystalline formation. It's that simple. When I work with oncology patients, I coach a lot of different clients and stuff like that. I have them change, you know, when they go in to have chemo and stuff like that, I invite them to put a label on their chemo bag saying complete health and wellness. So it changes the chemistry of the water in that bag with the medication as it goes into their system. So it's aligning with that intention. And so those are little things that people can do that they think, oh no, it's everything's in separate boxes. Everything is connected in ways people have no idea. And I think we're starting to see evidence of that in Western medicine.
Beautiful. Please share your book.
Oh, absolutely. So it's called Your Amazing Itty Bitty Healing in Ways You Never Thought Possible book. It's 15 key steps to manifesting true health and lasting wellness. And here's a picture of it. I think it's kind of reversed right now in the thing.
I can read
yeah.
it.
And it's available on Amazon. It is in Kindle and also in paperback copy. And it's a small book and it's something you could put in your purse. And the beauty of it is that you could just open it anywhere when you're feeling kind of off and you get a message. I love it when books are like that because it's like you get what you need at the moment without reading the whole book.
I'll definitely share it in the comments after
Thank
our
you.
happy live session. But this is a quick 10-minute session we bring on a daily basis, as I mentioned earlier. Any last comments from you before I wrap up, or any?
Yeah, you know, I just invite people just to be kind and nice to themselves. And also one other thing I want to just put in there, I do have a YouTube video called Healing in Ways You Never Thought Possible. It's a weekly show, and I highlight and interview people who've had amazing healing stories from, you know, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional type of things. And so I'm always looking for guests for that. So if your audience has any interest in that, just have them reach out to me and I'd be glad to speak to them further.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I would love to share some of the stories you have on YouTube with us so that we can try to empower more women out there. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mita. I appreciate you.